Fellas, are you there?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Boom, baby. How you
Yep.
doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. This looks like, so wait a minute. Just put my mind at ease because social distance wise, it looks a little closer than 6 feet, but you guys been together for a while, right?
Yeah, we've been roommates. We've been chilling together this whole thing, so we good.
All right. Well, a lot to get to, and I appreciate you guys doing this for us a lot. Just to kind of recap, even before we get into the body of what you're doing now and what you're looking forward to, I want to go back because the last time I saw you guys, it was almost time to take the court right against, we thought it would be Stanford, turned out to be Cal. And it sure looked like it set up beautifully for a tournament run. I mean, you guys, except for a heartbreaking 3-point shot by Jordan Matthews, who would have rolled in there with a 9-game winning streak and a favorable draw in that Pac-12 tournament in Vegas. Were you guys like I was thinking, ooh, baby, this is all setting up pretty good?
Yeah, I think so. We were definitely heading in the right direction, especially the way like the later half of our season was going. So we were super excited. Even after that tough loss, like we were coming into the Pac-12 tournament with a lot of confidence. We had a high seed, second seed, so we were ready to play. But unfortunately, we couldn't.
Those are the dulcet tones of Jules Bernard, by the way. I should have identified him right away, and I didn't. That's my bad. David Singleton, who's got the always the beautiful smile, will be next up to chat with you. And I would imagine, David, that you were in particular looking forward to getting on the floor in that tournament because last time you had been in that tournament, you had to limp off the floor, and it changed the whole trajectory of your career, really. Just kind of a crazy, weird play where a foot gets stepped on with seconds left in the game against Stanford, and the next thing you know, we're wondering if we're going to see you on the court again. So can you talk about that a little bit? How you worked your way back from the foot injury, and what kind of season you thought you had?
It was definitely heartbreaking. It was my first time at the Pac-12 tournament being injured, but luckily it was the same injury I had in high school, so I was able to bounce back. I knew what I was going through. I had an excellent staff right behind me. It was a little difficult going through a new coaching staff and everything like that. But as the summer progressed and as fall progressed, I started getting a little confidence back. And then during the season, especially during conference, the coach really looked at me as a guy to depend on, and I made my way to the starting lineup. So that really gave me confidence in itself, and it really opened up. I started to feel a lot confident about my game.
You mentioned the coaching change, and Mick Cronin had just been named Pac-12 Coach of the Year when we all got introduced to COVID-19. He took a team that was picked eighth out of 12. You guys were basically in position to win the whole conference. So you technically finished second out of 12, but you guys began 8-9. You rolled in at 19-12 at the end there. You were a win or two away from going back to the big dance. So there had been a big dance. So I would think, and Jules, start with you, but from that 8-9 beginning to all of a sudden you're 19-12 and nationally people are paying attention to you. How fun was that to go from where it started to where it was finishing up?
I think it was a lot of fun, the whole process from the beginning to the end. I think there's like a beauty in the struggle, and we went through that struggle early on. And I think, we played Arizona at Arizona, and that environment was amazing. It was a lot of, I think it was a sold out crowd. It was loud, and, we did our job, and we had a great game and ended up winning. And I think that propelled us for the rest of the conference. So just like to see the journey from where we were in the beginning to where we were at the end, it was very fun to see. It was fun to be a part of. And, hopefully next year, like, we can carry that momentum.
And kind of on that point, David, I'll throw it to you. I remember doing the math, just talking about how close you guys came to winning the regular season conference outright. You guys ended 12-6 to Oregon's 13-5, and it's so crazy because I looked at it between the Bruins and their opponents this past year. 3,388 field goal attempts we got to watch, and I will isolate three of those 3,388. If CJ Ellaby's corner three at Washington State had not gone down at the end of regulation, you guys win that game. If Jake Kyman's last second three had gone down against Fullerton, you guys already would have been a part of March Madness back in February. And of course, if Jonah Matthews hadn't harpooned you guys with a second left at USC, you know the rest of that sentence. So isn't that crazy, though, how, I mean, in a season with basically about 3,400 field goal attempts, you can be lauded as either successful or unsuccessful by one shot, either rolling in or bouncing out. That's crazy to me.
Well, yeah, it's definitely crazy, but it's part of the game. That's why every possession counts, every possession matters, especially as we get closer and closer to the postseason, because you have better teams, more equipped teams that have their scouting. So it might come down to the wire. It might come down to one bucket or one stop. So Jules definitely definitely dove on the ball at Washington, and that really sealed the deal for us to ever come back after Jake Kyman's barrage of threes. So that's part of the game. So I mean, that's why we developed a culture of every possession counts on offense and defense.
It was so much fun to watch that come together. And I got to ask you, I mean, either one of you jump in, but, when it was the 1-3 conference start and 8-9 overall, Coach Cronin pretty loudly called everybody out, right? I mean, it was kind of like, hey, either we're going to go down in flames or there are going to be some changes made. How gratifying was it? And what can you share with us about what happened? I mean, what was the spark to get the culture right? The thing that you just mentioned, David, about making sure every possession counts. What was it that clicked and changed? Because it was so much fun to watch that.
One of the biggest things that happened in closed doors, and Jules will back me up on this. Coach, he made us take our jerseys off. That really set the tone for our seasons. He felt like we weren't worthy enough to wear the 4 letters across the chest. And frankly, at the time, I agreed with him. We didn't deserve to wear those jerseys. We just wore blue and white. And that really gave us a chip on our shoulder. It gave us the push we needed. He was hard on us, but it was really the tough love that really propelled us into going to the late season.
Jules, what are you most looking forward to now with it? I mean, obviously it looks like Chris Smith is going to dip his toe into the NBA draft waters, and obviously he'll be missed. Everybody loves Chris. If indeed that's the case, you've got so much coming back and a couple of new guys added to the mix that could be very special too. Watching how Cody Riley developed down the stretch last year. Jaquez, I mean, nobody ever would have believed he was a freshman. Do you feel like there are some pieces in place where it can be kind of pick up where you left off?
Yeah, I do. We have a lot of talented players, but I think the more important thing is that we have experience under our belt. We have a lot of experienced players now. Even our younger guys, they had a lot of experience this year. So, taking in these two, our newer freshmen coming in and adding them to the talent that we have now, we have a lot of pieces, a lot of weapons. It's just a matter of like continuing to work hard and, take our experiences, take what we've learned from last year and, what we've learned through the coaching change and how we've adapted to the new coaching style. We take all of that into this new season and sort of, push forward and see how it goes.
David, for you, one of the things that Coach Cronin used to like to tell us media types is that you are, in his estimation, what he calls an old soul. And he meant that as a real compliment, that you're one of these guys that just wants to do everything right all the time, almost to a fault, right? I mean, that you just kind of dig deep, find a way not only to motivate yourself, but motivate your teammates. Where do you figure that element came from?
Well, it went all the way back to my father. He always told me, you have to get the job done, whether it's with teammates or by yourself. And obviously, basketball is a team sport, so I need the team we need to win together. So that drive and that element really came from my dad. So he tells me every day, to push harder, go harder, never to be satisfied. He told me that I not only real basketball players not only get themselves better, they get their teammates better.
And Jules, we see a lot of that with you as well. And the thing about your year last year, I thought of you as like the silent assassin because, you kind of lull us to sleep a little bit. You'd have some games where maybe you only played a few minutes or whatever. And then bang, when they needed you, you got a 14-point first half at Utah. They needed you for defense in some other games, and there you were. Did you like that? Because I know obviously in high school, when you're at Windward School, you're out there on the court almost every second, and that obviously changes when you're a younger college player. Did you like being that guy, kind of the hired gun to come in and change things?
You know, I just like I feel like I pride myself on always being someone who plays hard all the time and being ready for my opportunity no matter what. So yeah, I think just the way I was taught, you know, my parents, you know, told me like because when I was a freshman in high school, I didn't play as much as I did like my sophomore to senior year. So for me to like, you know, my first experience with real basketball, they told me, you know, just stay ready and make the most of your minutes. So I've always carried that throughout my career, and I just pride myself on staying ready and you know playing hard all the time. You know, sometimes and it showed this year. You know, sometimes you know they needed me more than other games, so I just had to stay ready and you know prove what I could do.
Not to bring the room down, because everybody knows that 2020 has sucked so far in every possible way. But, even before we start talking about this new normal that we're all in right now, you guys are both LA guys. And, when January 26th rolled around, what a bizarre, sad time that was. You guys are basically getting ready to walk in the gym up at Oregon, which is already going to be a very tough game. And down comes the news that Kobe Bryant has passed away. And then you start learning more about all that. How did that affect you guys personally? And I mean, I know just watching you guys, body language, that game seemed like all of us were just kind of in a fog. I mean, even the announcers were just like, oh man, are we even playing basketball right now? I don't mean to make you sad by taking you back to that day, but how meaningful, David, we'll start with you, was that experience?
It was a very, very sad day for us, but especially for me and Jules, since we grew up in LA. You know, Kobe he was an icon. He was a hero. He was like a great guy. Like he was one of those guys that when he retired, he was supposed to own a team and grow. You know, his legacy. He was supposed to be here with us longer and then pass on his legacy to more players. It was a sad day. I would, we weren't ready. We weren't really ready to play after we heard that news, but it's no excuse. I mean, we had to go out. We didn't get the job done that day, but it really, it really made us sad.
And Jules, for you, I mean, was Kobe one of the big guys you looked up to too growing up?
Kobe was like my idol. Like, you know, there are always like conversations between like Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. And, you know, for me, like I love Kobe so much. I always took his side in every single argument. Like I looked up to him. Like yeah, I wore his shoes all the time growing up. I wore his number when I was in, you know, junior YMCA, everything. So I love Kobe a lot. And, you know, it was a tough day. It was definitely sad. But, you know, we had to play on, and it was definitely tough because, we're playing a game that, you know, we knew really wasn't on our mind. We were sort of dreading the loss of like a hero and also his daughter. So, it was very tough to do, but we had to move forward. And, as we, passed on the days since his death, it's kind of beautiful, like how people have sort of realized his greatness, and not only on the court, but as a father off the court as well. So, you could just get a sense of his legacy and all that he's done, 40 something years of his life.
I'm going to bring some light into the room, literally here. Hang on, guys. I'm going to try to get out of the dark here if I can, just a little bit. See if that works. Here we go. It's a little bit better. So going forward now, when you watch basketball, when you are watching NBA and even the college game right now, who are some of the guys that you do stop down to watch even now? David, we'll start with you.
In terms of NBA, I'm trying to watch Klay Thompson on his consistency of three-pointer. I'm trying to watch Damian Lillard and Kyrie Irving to expand my game. So Coach asked me to work on certain skills that they're really good at. So in terms of watching players, I just watched them. I'm obviously watching the documentary, the Bulls documentary. So I'm rewatching basketball footage of him. I'm watching footage of Kobe. I'm watching footage of all the greats and try to get some new moves, new techniques for this season.
What about you, Jules?
For me, I don't know. I feel like I'm a fan. I'm a fan of basketball, so I watch like everyone. I watch all types of highlights. All types of mixtapes. Whether from high school, college, or NBA. I just love watching highlights like that. But in terms of like the favorite people to watch in the NBA, I'd probably say like James Harden. He's one of the people. He's one of those players because he's so like he's not the fastest player. He's not the most athletic player, but he's effective and efficient. So like just trying to see like what he does on the court to manipulate his defenders. I think it's very interesting to watch and study.
So you guys mentioned you've watched the MJ documentary, and I'm really interested because I was basically exactly your age when Michael Jordan was doing all that stuff. So I mean, that's what I grew up with. You didn't grow up with that. How much did you know about his legacy? How deep of a dive did you have to do to try to kind of catch up? And David, start with you. What are some of the fun things that you've learned about that whole era?
The only things I've learned is the information that revealed on the documentary. But I had all the VCR, I had all the Jordan tapes, every game, all 6 of his rings. I have everything. I'm wearing Jordans right now as we speak. So it was really just review until we got to the behind the scenes about the general manager and the coaching, everything that happened. That's the only thing that's really new to me. It's just the new footage I was never seen before this documentary. That's the only thing that's new to me. But other than that, I've seen it all.
Some of that stuff is crazy, right, Jules? I mean, the Scottie Pippen staying on the bench, and I mean, a lot of that. I mean, the '80s NBA was crazy. Very different league than it is now, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Especially like I never even knew that story about Scottie like sitting out of that game. Like that was pretty crazy. Like I couldn't like I don't know. It's just like interesting to see. I don't know like how someone can do that, but just to put yourself in his shoes and in his situation was an interesting dynamic. But there are a lot of stories like even the Dennis Rodman, taking a break for 48 years. Like there's a lot of like interesting behind the scenes things in this documentary that are very fun to watch. So it's a very enjoyable documentary.
Well, and not to be glib about it, but Rodman's Vegas experience very different than the one we all just shared together. Again, when we all found out what COVID-19 really was and what it meant. Again, not to bring the room down, but just to kind of get your perspective on it. When you guys loaded up the bus, and I watched you guys get on that bus, and again, that same kind of fog that I saw the day that Kobe passed away, it was kind of like, wait, what? Right? I mean, kind of like, here you guys are ready to make a run, maybe deep into March Madness, and now there's a shrug about is there even going to be March Madness? And people still couldn't believe there was no Pac-12 tournament because 9 hours before there was a Pac-12 tournament going on. So what was it like? How surreal was it, Jules, just kind of leaving Las Vegas, literally, like what's next? What's going on?
It was very weird, like, because like even then, like we still didn't know like what was going on, how long, this thing would last. But, we try to keep like an optimistic point of view to it, thinking that we would still have like March Madness, but as like the hours went, we just realized like, the chances of this happening are very slim. So it was kind of disappointing. And, as the days went on and more news come out of this, of people catching the case and this thing growing, it was just very difficult because we knew even more and more that like this basketball season was going to come to an end. So it was very tough news, but I think we took a good measure because safety and health are the more important things. So it's tough, but we had to do as NCAA in the NBA, we took measures that were necessary.
And David, the one thing that hit me really hard, it's not like it was a senior laden team, but Prince Ali and Alex Olashinsky, right? They've been around for a really long time and gave their heart to the program. And to think that perhaps, wow, I mean, that's how it ends for those guys, their college career. I mean, you guys now, whenever we get back on the court, you guys have a lot to prove and you've got a couple of years to do it. But did that kind of resonate with you too? That, man, what a terrible way for it to end for those guys.
Yeah, it wasn't really fair that their senior season ended the way they did, especially since they went out the way they did. It sucks to say that their last game at UCLA was a loss against the USC.
Right.
Especially when they're in the middle of a run. That just sucks overall. By itself. And then the fact that that was their last game. We were making a run in the middle of the Pac-12. We were about to start the Pac-12 tournament. And we didn't get a chance to play in their last games. I'm just grateful that they got to play their last game at Poly Pavilion.
Yeah. So let me kind of get it back upbeat a little bit before we get done. And I really appreciate you guys doing this tonight for sure. What has the whole experience these last couple of months, COVID-19, you guys are obviously, kind of holed up together. And I mean, I'm assuming it's brought you even closer. I hope you're not throwing haymakers at each other. It looks like you're getting along fine. What are some, if any, positives that have come out of this? Have you grown? Do you feel, either of you guys, in any way? Have you learned Italian? Have you perfected a skill? Have you done any deep dives that you wouldn't have otherwise done? Is there anything positive that you can talk about these last couple of months?
So I really took this time to perfect my mechanics of my basketball game. So I'll be outside dribbling and working on handles or doing moves. And I took this time to make sure my left leg is really ready for the season, because it did take a lot of gains for my leg, so I get confidence in my leg so I can come back and be productive in the court. So I'm really taking this time to really make sure my leg is ready, and then just getting better however I can.
It's a great answer. Jules, how have you attacked it?
Just like with an optimistic view, we have a great staff who creates workouts for us and nutrition plans for us to follow during this quarantine. So it's just a matter of discipline and staying the course. And, I've been trying to, work out on my body as much as I can, given that, it has to be body weight, because, I don't really have access to the weights that we do in the weight room, but, staying the course every day, doing the workouts that our coach Wes sends us. And then, finding any way to play basketball, dribbling outside, finding if there's an empty gym or something, just trying to find a way to play basketball somehow. And just going on runs, staying in shape while, we don't have practices to keep us in shape. So we have to find a way to stay in shape. But also, I think an important thing is to spend time with my family, during basketball. Basketball, normally, is, pretty much all year round. So I've never had this much time to, actually spend time with my family, and it's been pretty nice. So, yeah.
I know your mom, Jules, who's been a freelance makeup artist in Hollywood. Is she still able to get work doing that? Because everything's shut down now, right?
Yeah, everything's shut down, but, she's finding a way. She has, given that she's freelance, she has her own clients and stuff. So, she finds a way to, up through virtual, lessons and stuff like that. So she's finding a way.
I heard somewhere she used to do a little work on Shark Tank. I'm binging the heck out of that right now. Would I have seen her work on season 8, 9, 10 of Shark Tank?
Yeah. I support my mother. I've seen shows on TV and live as well. So just to see her in action is very inspiring, because she's one of the most the hardest working people I know. She goes at it for 16 hours a day, and
wow.
It's just inspiring to see her come back home and support her children, and then go back the next day early in the morning and work. So I support her as much as I can and watch all her work. So I enjoy her. I enjoy the Shark Tank as well.
That's cool. So does she actually get Mr. Wonderful's big bald head all shined up, or what's her tactic?
She works. I believe she's done his makeup one time or a few times, but I think she works primarily on Lori Grenier. So yeah, that's her main person she does for the Shark Tank.
That's cool. That's good QVC hookup for you down the line if you need it. Hey,
Right.
speaking of TV, what do you guys besides the Michael Jordan documentary? What's in the queue? What are you guys watching or binging?
I'm binging Ozarks right now, so
How you
I'm
like
on
it?
that. It's I'm trying to binge watch as much shows as I can because this is the most time I'm gonna get, in my life. I'm watching Ozarks. I'm watching Criminal Minds. Yeah, I'm just freelancing on Netflix right now.
Are you there with him, Jules, or you go somewhere else when he's doing that?
Oh no, I watch my shows in my own room and stuff. I watch pretty much everything I can. Like I'm someone who like I don't like shows as much because they kind of take a long time. I like movies more, but now that I have time, I've been trying to watch as many shows as I can, while I can, and just trying to diversify and watching shows that I wouldn't think I'd watch, and then watching like the mainstream shows like Money Heist. Money Heist was a great show.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, just mixing it up.
So before we say goodbye to each other, fellas, and really appreciate your time tonight. I know the Bruins community does as well, and we're all obviously hoping that we all get back to near normal as we can real soon. But just in terms of a basic feeling about the program right now, we've talked about the coaching staff and how it's almost like you'd expect, right? I mean, it's a bumpy liftoff, when you take off, but then pilot comes on and says it's going to be smooth skies, right? And that seems like that's exactly what last year was. So do you have expectations for, I mean, assuming that everything is pretty close to normal and there's going to be basketballs in the air in mid-November and everybody's feeling like, all right, we're ready. David, what do you expect out of this 2020-2021 season?
Well, I expect the freshmen to learn from us. And our transfer, Johnny Juzang. I played against him in high school. He's a great player. Jalen Clark, I watched a little film on him. He's also a great player. So I feel like we should have everyone's heart and soul on the court. Everyone's going to keep everyone accountable. And I feel like we're going to go as hard as we can and try to dominate the season.
Nice.
Jules, what about you?
I'm excited. I feel like we have a lot of great players. I know both people coming in, Jalen Clark and Johnny Juzang. They're from the same AAU club I played on, and I know their talents. I know they're very talented. And so, our job as players who've already been here is to guide them through the way. And, we're all going to play hard. That's the expectation that coach has for us. That's the expectation that we all have for us as a program. So we're going to give our heart and soul, like David said, and, we're going to try to do what we're supposed to do. And with what we have and the experience we have, we should do pretty well next season.
Well, from where you guys started to where you finished, it was remarkable. And you guys really brought Bruin Nation together. And I think you'll do it again in a time where we all kind of need a little salvation, right? A little feel good. So all of us, I think, are really looking forward to it. Can't thank you guys enough. David, I will not ruin season 3 of Ozark for you. I'm very tempted
Thank
to.
you.
I'll keep my mouth shut. You guys stay safe, stay beautiful. We'll talk soon. Appreciate you.
For sure. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's David Singleton and Jules Bernard. I'm Josh Lewin. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Talk to you again. Bye-bye.